Listen up, my kittens. It's a Friday, so I really don't want to get anything done at work, so instead we're going to talk about Brimstone on Vines. I'm going to start with defense, go over all of the sort of main smokes, side smokes, retake smokes, some other smokes, and then we'll do some helpful mollies at the end. If I decide not to be lazy, I will put timestamps on YouTube, but I guess only you'll know if I actually did that or not. Okay, so on Brimstone defense, I'm going to assume most of the time you'll be playing in U-Haul. If you can technically play like Cubby on B or maybe like CT on B as well, but if you're playing solo Brimstone, no Viper, no like second smokes, you're probably going to be spending most of your time in U-Haul. So starting with some of the basic smokes to help stop executes on A site, obviously if they're going to quickly pop showers or
launching smoke
showers, you just smoke like that, very easy. There will be some rare times where if you have like significant showers pressure, like a couple guys triple, you could smoke deeper like this, very situational. Anyway, moving on to short, the main smoke you're going to throw
launching smoke
is one way, just very wide one way, of course the idea being that you have plenty of angles on site where if they try to swing out, you'll get to see their feet before they get to see you. You get an advantage in the fight. Very annoying smoke to try and push out of. Sometimes you'll see people like jump up into it or play behind it, so you can just spam with that, very easy. There will be some moments, maybe on like an eco round or something, if you have a short of your bucky, instead of throwing this wide smoke like this, you might throw it a little more like this in the
smoke's down.
Box. Reason being, you can kind of walk up here, be a little rat, and hopefully you'll be able to kill someone like jumping up if you're walking by. There will also be some scenarios, maybe if you're playing with a judge, rather than throwing a one-way at all, you'd rather throw this
smoke down.
A little less sort of scary for them to try and get out of, but much easier to play a judge with. Be careful, they can step up here and see over the top of the smoke, but you just kill them, very easy. Alright, those are going to be the sort of main smokes on A, as far as like main choke points. On B, similar thing. Playing from U-Haul, you can smoke hookah, is very
launching
easy.
Smoke!
Smoke like that. Or in the event that someone's actually playing in hookah, trying to hold hookah,
smoke's down.
Smoke like this, also very easy. You cannot smoke garden from hookah, but let's say you're rotating or something and you want to smoke garden.
Launching smoke!
That. I feel like most of the time a garden smoke isn't super necessary. People are
right here.
Going to play elbow or they're going to play
right here.
Sight. So it's just not as important as the hookah smoke, and if you're playing from U-Haul, hard to smoke garden anyway, but there's certainly a time and a place. Alright, getting on to more sort of site smokes, retake smokes. The main one you're going to see on A site is going to be the smoke like this from truck.
Launching smoke!
Like that, and the idea... Oh, hey, server crashed. Alright, we're back. This is my, like, third time making the recording, so I was in the custom for so long, the server crashed. But anyway. Retake smokes on A. The main one you're gonna throw is like this. Of course, it's a traditional retake smoke in the sense that it allows your team to flood on site. It disconnects any sort of A short players from shower players. Makes it very easy to clear this sort of triple and
right here
sort of shower. It also is a site smoke, in the sense that it prevents any short players from taking more space. And if you're able to sort of keep them stuck A short, it's going to be very hard for them to play the post plant with absolutely no space. So, like, there are plenty of times that, you know, maybe I'm playing U-Haul, but I obviously just won't be able to hold this short for whatever reason.
Launching smoke!
You can play the site smoke, continue to play your U-Haul position, and it just prevents the attackers from gaining any real space. So that's going to be the main retake smoke you'll want to throw on A. On B, the main retake smoke is like this.
Smoke's down.
It's also a site smoke as well, in the sense that, you know, you have a site
right
here or here or something like that. Just any sort of site anchor. Makes it much easier for them to hold the site. They can play around the smoke, they can hold this sort of crate, and they can, you know, hold back site, whatever it may be, play off trips. It's also just straight up a retake smoke. You won't be able to see anyone hookah. Makes it very
launching
easy
smoke!
To flood in and actually hit site. Occasionally you may see a smoke like this. The reason being, you know, you just don't care about the space at all. You're okay with the cubby. You just need some way to get on site. Maybe it's an eco, you have a stinger, you have a bucky, whatever it may be. But those are really going to be the main ones. Occasionally you may see something weird like over here, but it's not very good. It'd be very like situational. And yeah, those will be the only real retake smokes. Maybe sometimes on A you could smoke like this to like flood in if it's planted triple, but probably not very often. Other miscellaneous smokes, this will kind of depend on your IGLing, but there are times on defense you'll want to be able to take space. So you might, for
Launching
example,
smoke.
smoke showers and then take showers, and get a free orb for your raise every round, or your gecko every round, or something like that. Occasionally you may smoke deep like
Launching
this
smoke.
to threaten the fact
Right
that
here.
someone might be tucked in this cubby. If you also wanted to hard fight into a lobby or hard fight into market, you can also smoke
Smoke's
like
down.
this. That one being to fight in a market, of course, or like
Smoke's down.
in the lobby. On B site, as far as B short, it's going to be very rare, but there may be rare.
Launching smoke.
Smoke like this in order to find out a Fuka, or perhaps more likely, I like this one a lot on eco rounds. You can smoke like I'm too high to.
Smoke's down.
You can smoke like this. The reason being that someone can teleport and then play with your healer players and sort of maintain that space, maybe like as a sort of trap. The most common one, along with the showers one, is going to be a B long smoke. You do something like
Launching
this.
smoke.
Takes maximum space, but with the downside that it's more easy
Right
to
here.
swing out here. Or you could throw it kind of fat like
Smoke's
this.
down.
Slightly less space, but a little more annoying to swing out to. And of course, this is just a smoke to take some space, to deny some info, to threaten
Right here.
some like position or whatever. Very simple stuff. Alright, so moving on to Mollies on defense. Again, normally you're going to be playing U-Haul. There's a couple of useful mollies you can do from here. I'm assuming that on A site you'll typically be U-Haul probably by yourself, and there'll be a couple guys, maybe Heaven, maybe Triple, something like that. So, if they go fast showers and you need to be able to prevent the showers pop to help your Triple player, whatever it may be, you can throw this molly, aiming where this like wire intersects with this light post.
Molly!
Like that. And it'll land in position to stop the shower players from running out. Similarly, from the same corner, this little like art thing, whatever that's supposed to be.
Right here.
Throw it in this corner.
Molly.
Wall. Stop the shooting flood. Now, a lot of times you won't be able to play in this corner. They might raise need you. They might deadlock net, whatever it may be. So if you need to fall back a little further, what you can do is you can sort of line up these
Right
two
here.
corners where it's just like a small gap you can see through. And then just throw your molly on the ground, kind of like right next to this corner.
Molly.
It's not super precise, and that will also stop their immediate push. A couple other mollies, let's say maybe you're playing not to hold the short choke, but to
Smoke's
sort
down.
of hold the rest of sight. You can come play back here, kind of at the back of
Right here.
this plantable area is. And you can aim your crosshair right below this like lip thing on top of the truck.
Molly.
Above the window, I guess. Just like that. Deny their plants. Or if, for some reason they're planting triple, very easy.
Molly.
Something like that. And then rotating. Is this molly you can throw
Right
line
here.
up here. Aim your crosshair kind of like where the curve of this thing is, this little claw. Jump throw molly. So on Brimstone, you jump and then throw at the top of your arc.
Molly.
It's not perfectly consistent, but it's pretty consistent. Bang, stop their default plant like that, stop them from sort of pushing backside from this direction, just help out your B players on their way to rotate. On B site, there's really not a ton of good mollies. The main one I just throw is
Molly!
like that, stop them from dropping out. Or, maybe just save your molly until you're trying to defuse, the guy's trying to spam you.
Molly!
Something like that, just whatever works really. And that's going to be it for attack side. So remember, the main two retake smokes are just going to be
Right
like
here.
right here and right here, and then of course just smoking chokes. And I said that was attack side, that was defense side. I'm a little brain dead, all good. Alright, so moving on to attack side, let's start with execute smokes. So let's say you're going A, let's talk about A execute smokes. So the main ones you're going to throw is going to be like this, from truck to triple, as well as this like triple to the wall
Launching smoke.
This is best for either your A splitting, so you have presence, showers, and short, or maybe you only have presence short, but you have the intention of fighting towards showers and actually, taking these fights, taking showers space. So those will be the main ones. Let's say you're not going showers at all, you don't want to fight for it, you're just going from short, you can smoke like this, top truck.
Launching smoke.
The point of this is it, cuts off all heaven angles. And then a smoke, not too unlike the retake
Smoke's
smoke
down.
we talked about for defense, like this. Gives you this space, you can plant, you can take U-Haul, play for a post, whatever. Not a ton of space for this one, but it works. Small variation on this, like, A split smoke. There are some times where, if you're coming out of shower and you're very confident in your presence, you can smoke like
Smoke's
this
down.
instead. Reason being, you just get a little more space and a little smaller choke point for defenders to flood through, but the downside being that if you don't have this area on lock, very easy for a defender to just swing out and like get this angle, just like the smoke was there. Alright, and then this is best when you're going out of shower, or if you're just kind of ambitious and you want to take like all of back sight. You just throw the deep smokes like that.
Launching smoke!
Typically the heaven smoke, you want to throw it as far out as possible. There may be a rare instance where you have a guy holding this, and you know a guy's heaven or something, and you'd rather throw
Smoke's
it
down!
deeper. The idea being there's a smaller sort of choke point. But I wouldn't really worry about it. I'd just throw the smoke like this. I mean, technically they can sit there, but it doesn't matter too much. Then finally, maybe you have a lurker, maybe you know there's absolutely no one on site, you have it all for free, you can
Launching
smoke like this. And if you get this smoke down, it's really just going to be impossible for any CT player to retake, especially
Molly!
down somewhere. Yeah, you throw the smoke, you should pretty much just win the round unless they flank. That's going to be really it on A site. I guess small variations, there are times
Launching smoke
like this. And the reason for this would be you just don't want to take this U-Haul fight for whatever reason. I don't like this smoke personally very often just because you lose out on a lot of space. It becomes very difficult to actually fight your U-Haul. But there may be times, there may be like an eco round, you want to throw it in a corner.
Smoke's down!
Along with these two smokes. The second one didn't go down for some reason, whatever. Or maybe you smoke it and you have like a Yoru and you fight out of it or something like that. But you don't see it very often. I'm personally not a fan of it. Let's see, moving on to B site. The B site smokes are very easy for just executing. You should pretty much always throw
Smoke's down!
Like 99 times out of 100, these are the smokes you're going to throw. Now, there will be times where maybe you had a lurker or you have info and you know that B site is totally free, including elbow. No one can be elbow. In that case,
Launching
you should
smoke.
smoke like this. This smoke will go down here in a second.
Stim beacon down.
The idea of this smoke is just that it makes it absolutely impossible for defenders to retake, kind of like this smoke on A. Just one little choke point can be held from about 1 billion different angles, and then especially if you follow it. And really, if you get that smoke down, it should just be GG's. Now, some more obscure things. Some pros lately like smoking like this, especially on like eco rounds, or especially
Smoke's down!
you know, they want to fight CT, or they just don't want to worry about like octagon and elbow whatsoever. You can smoke like this and get out without having any exposed angles. I don't really like this. Prevents you from gaining a lot of space. They can play in it. They can flash out. You know, it's very weird. But there's scenarios, maybe on like an eco round or something. And then also, very rarely, I've seen teams here and there smoke like this.
Smoke's down!
Again, this would probably be like an eco round, like you're trying to run on site with like 4 buckies or something.
Launching smoke!
This is more of like, you have a brain dead like Brimstone fill in gold lobbies type of smokes, but you know, there may be a time and a place. Use your judgment, certainly. So that's going to be it for execute smokes. We'll talk about some default smokes. Default in this context meaning like you've called a default, you're trying to take map space, deny CT information, stuff like that. The main places you're going to see smokes for the default is going to be long and showers. And long, I always like throwing it
Launching
like this.
smoke!
When I IGL, the reason for that is it's very easy for even a single player to just
Right
run to
here.
a fountain and come and take this space. Or, you know, if you have multiple players, it's just as effective. Alternatively, you'll see pros a lot like this
Smoke's
smoke.
down.
The reason for that is, you know, you've just taken a lot of space. If you can get all the space behind this smoke, the CT has absolutely no info on what's going on long, and they have to respect the fact that you could just have 4 people here and execute at any moment. They don't know. The downside of this smoke is that it's really going to require more util to be able to take all of this space. It'd be very risky to try and clear all this space without util. You know, there could be
Right
a guy
here.
there could be a guy in this angle, and this
Right
angle,
here.
you know, whatever. So usually if you're going to do this, you want a little more manpower. You want like a group of 3. You maybe want like a flash or a prowler or a soda drone, something like that. Short, you're not really going to see any like defaulty type smokes. Maybe you could be weird.
Launching
or something
smoke!
like that on like an eco round. I wouldn't really worry about it. Short, same thing. Very, very rare scenarios. If you had like a Viper wall from here to here, or you had like a harbor or something, you might smoke
Smoke's down!
to prevent them from getting info. Again, I wouldn't really worry about it. Not super noteworthy. Now in showers, pretty commonly you'll see a smoke.
Launching
like this,
smoke!
and then the attackers will use this smoke in order to take the shower's space. It's kind of like the same thing on long, where the CT just has to respect that you can execute from here. And then sometimes, you know, if it's an eco or something and we're trying to run showers, I'll throw a smoke like this, or maybe even a little fatter like this.
Smoke's down.
It just makes it very difficult for anyone to swing out here, and you can just kind of run out and, you know, you have a stinger, you have a bucket, whatever, just fight through and smoke. Be brain dead eco, you know, whatever makes you happy. Alright, so it's going to be really it for smokes on attack. Let's go over a couple mollies on attack. I'll start with the B site. So if you're like a good player on a good team, more often than not, you're just going to be somewhere on site.
Molly!
You're just gonna throw your molly like this. It's going to stop them from flooding. You're going to take site. And the idea behind this is just exactly that. On B site, it is very, very hard to retake. So as a result, people will flood instead, which is like, you know, maybe we have a site anchor back site, and the rotators are going to get on site with the site anchor. This means that the attackers, they won't have time to fully take site, to set up, to whatever, maybe not even have time to plant. And that's much, much preferable for the defenders as opposed to like a full like set retake where the attackers got plant down, they have time to do whatever. Because retaking B site is just absolute cancer. So as a result, you can just kind of throw it here, prevents the flood. Now if you've taken site successfully, they have to retake. Very good. But if you would rather be cringe, you can keep your molly for post plant.
Right here.
So typical plants are going
Right
to be
here.
here and here. Normally
Right
I would
here.
call this like safe plant. And
Right
this
here.
would probably be like default plant. You could also call it like mid crate or something like that. So if you've taken elbow, which don't do that alone, call for your team to do it with you. There's some molly you can do if you line up
Right
with this, like V, and then you just aim at, so not in the middle of this like diagonal, but maybe on like the left quarter of it, somewhere about here.
Molly!
Walks through the little window, denies them from defusing a safe plant. Similarly, there's this little like panel on the wall. You can just walk in the middle of it, not super precise.
Molly!
At the same spot. It will land for this like middle plant. There's also this molly if you're in hookah, which if you're hookah this late as Brimstone, it's like probably a little brain dead, but you know there's scenarios for it. And the way I like to line this up is so there's these like vertical lines. I remember the one like next to the eye or like the one below the N, whatever makes you happy. Anywhere along this back wall,
Molly!
corner, just deny defuse for this like, default plant. There's of course like billions of lineups you could throw here, but if you want to be that cringe, I can show you, but we'll stay less cringe for now. On an A site, really not see a ton of mollies for preventing retake. Occasionally, if you have all this space,
Molly!
you'll molly like that or something, or maybe even like
Molly!
a lot of teams have like a lineup and they'll molly like back here when they execute. Normally, I would just save my molly for post plant unless you have a good reason, like otherwise to use it. Maybe
Molly!
mid site or something. I don't know. I would just, if you want to keep it simple, you can
Right
like
here.
line up with this box, and then there's this like corner here.
Molly!
Just throw it like that. Bang, stops default plant. If it's like
Right here.
planted triple, you can always bounce
Molly!
off this wall. Very easy.
Molly!
Precise, just throw whatever.
Molly!
But yeah, besides that, just very situational. Maybe stop.
Molly!
All flood, or maybe if you throw in the mid-site smoke.
Smoke's down. Molly!
Something like that. So very easy stuff. Alright, so that's going to be it on bind. You just got to remember a few of the sort of key execute smokes. Normally going to be here, 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 and then, you know, some variations throughout. Now, a little bit of bonus content because Crimsyn thought it would be helpful. Let's talk about retake smokes on some other maps. So, assuming you're playing Omen on Sunset, retake smokes really aren't huge on Sunset, but there's a couple you can do. One of the more popular ones recently has been to throw this like headshot smoke. I call this area headshot back before the rework. Crimsyn calls it trash, you know, whatever. The idea, of course, being that, you know, now you can just flood out on site, pretty easy. Alternatively, if you're in market, you can throw a smoke like this. So normally attackers, they might throw a smoke like this, which is kind of a lurk smoke. You can throw a smoke like this, which allows you to walk out. It also prevents them from pushing towards market, kind of like that A site smoke to prevent them from like continuing to take space. Then you could flood out, help your backside player, whatever. On A, it's pretty simple. A lot of times I'll throw this one way and then use my flash to retake. The reason you need some sort of flash or, you know, something is because they could easily have already swung out and be holding an angle like this, as well as, you know, like headshot angles and stuff that don't get covered by the smoke. Alternatively, you could just smoke it flush instead without the one-way. and it makes it easier for the attackers to swing through if they need to, but it cuts off more angles, so a little bit of a give and take there. And then yeah, just like typical elbow smoke allows you to flood in. It's really all there is on A site. And then Haven. Couple on Haven. Big smoke you need to know on Haven. A lot of people don't know. This is called the Sugar Zero smoke. It's named after Sugar Zero, who was a player for, I think, Zeta Division in the early days of Valorant. Very, very strong smoke. Not really a retake smoke, more of like a sight smoke and like a hold sight smoke. The idea being that anyone going from short, they're going to have to swing through the smoke twice. And then even after they do that, they're only able to clear like half of sight. And then if you come from long, you know, you're going to have to clear like this whole close area. Then you're going to have to go clear hell. Then you have to go clear CT and then graffiti. And then after all that, someone could still be short. Just really a nightmare smoke to have to try and clear sight around. So as a result, it's very strong. Honestly, any round where the opponents hit A, in my opinion, you should probably be throwing their smoke. It's a little bit of a retake smoke. You can, you know, flood in through CT. And then you don't have to clear short angles or like this default. You can clear graffiti and then move on to like hell and whatever. For a more sort of traditional retake smoke, you can smoke like this. This allows your Heaven player to potentially jump into it, but more typically it just allows you to sort of work the site more methodically, or even fight through your own smoke. It cuts off like this crossfire that from like hell to graffiti you'll see, cuts off angles of people from ammo, certain like default angles, just makes your life a lot easier. Besides that, you know, certain post plants, you'll throw a smoke like this, like if you know they're short. I wouldn't really ever throw this smoke, to be honest, but if you do have this short space, there's, you know, you can do it. And then on B site, no real retake smokes, I'll just smoke B main. And then on C site, there's two smokes. This is kind of like a sight smoke, but it's also a retake smoke. If you have a sight anchor, it allows them to help hold this back site easier if the attackers have already gained this space. And then you can also kind of flood in easier, only worrying about this angle and not like plat or like main angles. And then similarly, there's a smoke like this for logs, which allows you to, you know, just flood in through CT uninterrupted by these angles. So pretty simple stuff on Haven. And that's really all the retake smokes you're typically going to see, along with just, you know, the traditional smoke main as you retake kind of thing. So yeah, pretty simple there, and that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, you probably know where to find me. If you don't know where to find me, ask Crimsyn, and I'd be happy to answer them or provide more information. Besides that, be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching my kittens.